Hello, my name is Gerald, and I appreciate you showing up today. Please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Why do African Americans make less than white people, on average, in the United States? Even asking this question makes me quite uncomfortable, as it likely makes you uncomfortable hearing me ask it. Despite this discomfort, I feel that it is a question that must be asked. My theory is based on logic, history, and economics. As we know, African Americans have been treated very poorly, especially when we glance back into the history of our country. Starting with slavery, most African Americans were unable to earn any kind of wage because they were considered property. We then saw a period of segregation where all African Americans could earn money, but were often not allowed to participate in a large portion of our society. After segregation, discrimination was still widespread, and African Americans were often refused jobs that they were qualified to hold and lost out on many other opportunities. Even today, some level of discrimination exists, but African Americans are treated much more fairly than they were historically. Historically, much of what was built by African Americans was destroyed or taken from them. This includes the boycotting or destruction of their businesses, theft of their inventions and ideas, as well as destruction of prosperous communities. An example of a community that was literally burned to the ground by racists is Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was a thriving community built through necessity as a result of segregation. It was honestly just plain beautiful what they created. It was a thriving community where it was easy to get funding for and build a successful business as an African American during a time where it was very difficult or impossible to do so in much of the country. This community was burned to the ground, and the African Americans within the communities were not given any kind of compensation for the destruction of their homes and businesses. Please do note that many lives were also lost in these fires, which is even more devastating than the destruction of the homes and businesses. But for the sake of my point, we must concentrate on the homes and businesses. Now I think to myself, if I built a successful business and it was burned to the ground, what would I feel like? I'd put all my time, all or most of my savings into it, my heart, my soul, everything, in hopes of building a better life for myself and my family. I know if I build it back up, it'll likely be burnt down again. What do? There's nothing I can do. I am distraught. I learned that hard work and dedication will not result in any kind of benefit. I then find whatever job I can find that will keep my family afloat. Maybe I can't find a job at all, or at least not a good one. I apply for government programs such as food stamps so that my family doesn't starve. Now let's take a moment to think. What does this sound a lot like? It sounds a lot like a worker living in a communist country. A worker that has been taught not to work hard because he will not get to keep anything he earns or creates. This was the problem that Germany felt when the Berlin Wall fell. When the wall fell, you had East Germany, which was a communist country controlled by the Soviet Union, and West Germany, which was a democracy and had a capitalist economy. The East German workers were inefficient and lazy. Why would they work hard when they don't receive any benefit for doing so? But now, suddenly, their hard work would be rewarded because they're a part of a capitalist society, which is Germany. Yet they did not work hard. It was still imprinted in their brains that anything they earned or created would not be theirs and would be taken from them. Now it's time to make the jump. While African Americans now get to keep the money that they earn and the businesses they build, it is still imprinted in their brains that it'll be taken from them. The wall of inequality has only recently begun to fall. Just as the integration of the East German workforce into the West German workforce was difficult and took time, so will the integration of African Americans into the rest of the United States workforce. We must think of intelligent ways to make this happen. While social programs provide immediate assistance, they do nothing when it comes to true integration. African Americans are underutilized as a labor force. They have so much benefit to bring to our economy and to our country, and they are truly an untapped labor force, similar to women in the early half of the last century. Utilizing the female labor force created a massive economic boom. Will the African American labor force create the next economic boom? Since this is a very difficult topic to talk about, I hope I did it in a respectful way. I tried to do it in as respectful of a way as I could. This is just a theory that I came up with when reading about East Germany and West Germany. And I started thinking about the similarities between the East German workers and other disenfranchised work populations within the US. And that's how I came to this conclusion. I truly appreciate you considering my theory. If you do believe that my theory is correct or is possibly correct, please click that like button. If you disagree, you think it's something else, please write what you believe is the cause in the comments below and click that dislike button. Thank you so much for listening.